Good evening, you're watching Northern Student TV. I'm your host, Alyssa Mess. We apologize for the unannounced absence last week due to the Headwaters Film Festival. This film festival highlights various students and individuals in the Mass Communications Department who put their creativity and skills to the public. Speaking of creativity, let's see what some of our students have put together for our show. First, talking about hunting decoys is T&C Reviews with Ty and Connor. Let's check it out.
Hey guys, Ty behind the camera here. Today we're going to be looking at a Jake and Hen decoy combo by Hunter Specialties. So let's get to unboxing this and we'll see what we got here.
So first off, we're going to unbox this. Here's the packaging for it. But there's two decoys in here. Give me a sec. We're just going to go through what's all inside of the box here. Get this tape off. Okay, so open it up. You just get something about it. A steak, or what appears to be a steak for it. Another one. Then a packaged decoy, and another packaged up decoy. And that's what comes in the box.
Okay, so we're going to talk about some positives and negatives of these decoys. So, just as a disclaimer, I have not actually used these hunting, so this is not a video about effectiveness. This is more about just the products themselves. So after opening them up and looking at them, the hen popped out pretty nice. It's not collapsing in and fully expanded. The Jake decoy is having a little bit of troubles expanding. It doesn't seem to want to stay there, but sometimes what you can do is just put a stick inside here and it will just keep it out. Another thing that I found positive with these is just overall the structure. You can tell that they're a heavy material, which is really good. A negative that I found would be that I don't really like the beard. I don't think that the beard is impressive by any means, which I know some decoys go for that. I personally am not a fan of that. The biggest thing I have an issue with is the stake. I'm not a fan of this stake. There's no lock-in, so it's really easy to lose a stake. The weight keeps it from spinning. That's what that was their goal. So it does stop it from spinning on the stake. The decoy looks good in the wind, but it's just nothing that's... I'm not a huge fan of the stakes themselves. So comparing these Hunter Specialty decoys to other decoys I've used, I think some of the other decoys I've used expand a little better. I haven't had much heat though, so it's hard to get on there and open these up. But other decoys I've used have pretty similar patterns. They look good, but most decoys nowadays do look good. It's hard to find one that is actually of bad quality. Other decoys I've used, primarily with the Jake decoy, had a little bit better beards in my opinion. And as for the hen, you can put this in breeding position, which not every hen can do that. This one lays really nicely on the ground, and the stake actually allows you to stake it in from the middle portion, and it goes into the ground really nicely. Stakes on my other decoys, they seem to stick better together. And they lock together, so that way you don't lose them when walking out to the field. So that's another thing that I wasn't a huge fan of with this. But other than that, though, I mean, they're pretty similar to other decoys that I've used. So overall, I think they're really nice decoys. I'd rate them about a 7. These are about the same quality as probably like Primos, Mad decoys. They're not as high quality as Avian X, but for the price point, you get 2-in-1 package. The decoys are pretty good quality. The beard's a little off on the Jake, but overall, they're really nice decoys. I'm excited to try them out this spring and see how they work. And so we got this time for our review, Jake and Hen Decoy Combo by Hunter Specialties. Really excited to get out in the woods and use this. If you guys got any other products to be reviewed before this turkey season or during it, let us know in the comments. Follow us on Instagram and subscribe to YouTube for more content. Thanks for watching, guys.
Up next, we talk all things BSU sports in Sports with CJ.
Spring sports are getting into full swing for the Beavers. Hello everyone, for NSTV Sports, I'm CJ Baumgartner. The baseball and softball seasons are in full gear as we are entering the month of April. The BSU softball team is off to a hot start, and even though their 10-game winning streak was snapped in Sioux Falls last weekend, the team's record sits at 20-10 overall and 3-3 in the NSIC. Senior center fielder Jessica Burlingame has led the way for the Beavers on offense with a .402 average with 41 hits and 21 RBIs. Sophomore Steffi Dullum has been powering the pitching staff with a 1.54 earned run average in 77 1/3 innings pitched. They will hope to continue their good play as they are just entering the NSIC schedule. The home series this week against St. Cloud was moved to St. Cloud, and the series against Finlandia was canceled, but the Beavers have a couple series over the weekend, facing MSU Moorhead on Saturday and Northern State on Sunday afternoon. Best of luck to the softball team this weekend. Moving on, the BSU baseball team has not gotten off to the start they were hoping for in the 2019 season. The team found their way to snap the 15-game losing streak with a 6-4 win against Concordia St. Paul, but have lost 5 in a row after that and has an overall record of 2-20 so far in the season. The Beavers were swept in a 4-game series last weekend against Wayne State down in Mankato, getting outscored 41-2. The BSU baseball team hopes to turn around their luck, but it's unclear if they'll be able to do it at the BSU baseball field, as the field is still questionable for baseball here in early April. They are scheduled to play a 3-game weekend series against Sioux Falls with a doubleheader on Saturday and a final game on Sunday, but we'll see what happens with the weather. For any updates on the weather and schedule changes, go to bsubeavers.com for any updates on the schedule for any sport coming up this spring. While we're on the topic of schedules, the Beaver football team has announced their schedule for the upcoming 2019 season. The Beavers will try to improve on their 7-win season last year, starting the season on September 5th in Aberdeen against Northern State. Then the team has their home opener at the Chet versus U-Mary on the 12th in prime time on Midcoast Sports Network. The annual Shrine game will take place on September 28th against Minnesota Duluth. Homecoming will be a bit later in the season, October 5th to be exact, as the Beavers will take on Augustana. The next home game will be against Winona State for the Lions Vision Awareness Game on October 19th, and November 2nd will be Military Appreciation and Senior Day for the final home game for BSU. The Beavers will play their final game of the regular season at Minot State on November 16th. Should be a fun season coming up this fall for the Bemidji State football team that hopes to continue being a contender in the NSIC. One last note to touch on this week is way back with the winter sports. BSU announced last week that 17 of their winter athletes earned a spot on the Winter Academic All-NSIC team. Overall, 4 members of the men's basketball team were named to the list, while the women's had 5. Leading the way for the winter sports for the Beavers was the women's indoor track and field team, with 8 of their members earning a spot on the Winter Academic All-NSIC team. Congratulations to all these athletes on maintaining good standings in academics as well as athletics. Be sure to keep it here for all of your BSU athletics news. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio. For NSTV Sports, I'm CJ Baumgartner. Roll Beavs.
Thank you, CJ, for keeping us up to date on all things Beaver. Keeping us up to date on campus events, we have What's Happening at BSU with Tiffany Harris.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of BSU Weekly. I'm your host, Tiffany Harris, and I'm here to keep you up to date on all things BSU. Starting us off on Monday, April 1st, the Mental Health Advisory Board is holding their monthly meeting at 6 p.m. in the Leadership Success Center, which is located right across from the HMU Information Desk. They will be discussing upcoming events and welcome all students to attend. On Tuesday, April 2nd, Lifestyle Educators will be hosting the Bystander Panel in Hags Hour 100 at 7:30 p.m. This panel will be held to educate students on how the bystander effect plays into sexual violence and how to identify the tendencies and habits that lead to the bystander effect. All students are encouraged to attend this panel. Also on Tuesday, women's softball will be playing at home against St. Cloud State at 1 o'clock and then again at 2 o'clock. Then on Wednesday, April 3rd, Res Life is giving all students who plan to live on campus next year a chance to win free room and board, as well as other prizes. Head over to Wally's in Walnut Hall at 9 p.m. for Minute to Win It games. There will also be free food and prizes to anyone who attends. You must be present to win. Also on Wednesday, men's baseball will be home for a game against Winona State at the BSU baseball field at 1 o'clock, and then again at 3 o'clock. Then on Thursday, April 4th, women's softball will be playing a home game against Finlandia at 2 o'clock. Then we will be playing again at 4 o'clock. Then on Friday, April 5th, BSU's rugby team will be heading to South Sioux City in Nebraska for a battle on the Nebraska Prairie, where over 80 teams will go to participate in a huge rugby tournament. The tournament will start at 4 p.m., and they will also be participating again on Sunday, April 7th, also at 4 p.m. Also on Friday, BSU's track and field will be at the Dutch Invitational all day, and men's golf will be participating in day 1 of the NSIC preview, time to be announced. Continuing on to Saturday, April 6th, with more away games, men's golf will be continuing their participation at the NSIC preview, time to be announced. Track and field will also be continuing their participation at the Dutch Invitational all day. Then women's tennis will be playing at Concordia University in Minnesota at 2 o'clock. If you are staying in Bemidji this weekend, there are still plenty of games that you can catch. Women's softball will be playing at home against MSU Moorhead at 1 o'clock, and then again at 3 o'clock. Then men's baseball will be playing at BSU Baseball Field against Sioux Falls at 1 o'clock, then again at 3. And lastly, on Sunday, April 7th, women's softball will be playing at home against Northern State at noon, and then again at 2 p.m. Men's baseball will be playing at home against Sioux Falls at noon, and women's tennis will be playing at home against Wisconsin River Falls at noon. That concludes this week's episode. Join me next week to learn more about upcoming campus events. My name is Tiffany, and I'll see you next time on BSU Weekly.
Joining our team and adding his name to our list of segments is What to Do Bemidji with Andy Kuchera. Let's find out what he is doing.
Hey, I'm Andy Kuchera, and you're watching What to Do Bemidji. This is the first edition. We're gonna go check out Paul and Babe. Come on, let's go.
Bemidji is the first town to adopt Paul Bunyan as their mascot. And so Paul Bunyan is the mascot of Bemidji for decades. Everybody wanted Paul Bunyan after Bemidji had started the fad. And it was in 1937 at their Paul Bunyan Winter Festival that they decided to commemorate the event by building these 2 statues. And so Bemidji was a trailblazer in making a mascot for a town of Paul Bunyan. And of course, many, many other towns decided that that was what they wanted to do as well, but Bemidji was the first. I think one of the most interesting things about Paul and Babe as far as the statues go is that they were actually, the measurements for both Paul and Babe were taken from actual man of the mayor at the time in 1937. And they took his measurements and then they just simply multiplied by 3 and made Paul based on that. They actually took an ox and took its measurements and made the statue of the ox the same way. They just simply multiplied by 3 and that's the measurements that they got right there. So that's how they got the scale for them. Paul, the statue, was set in place right away, but the statue of Babe was put on a 1.5-ton truck and taken all over Minnesota to parades for several years before it was set in place. Yeah, all the items that are here have been made by local people and donated to the Tourist Information Center. And you can see as you look around at these different items, there's all kinds of things in here that'll make you laugh. There's a shotgun here that's probably 15 feet long. We also have Paul Bunyan's fingernails right here in our own display case. Of course, we know that they're the real thing. We have a fishing rod that's probably close to 20 feet long. It's got a musky lure on it that's actually the real size of a musky lure, although tourists that come in think it's an exaggerated size, but no, it's not. It's the real size of a musky lure. We even have Paul's boxer shorts on the wall. He never gets any privacy, but what can he expect when he's a celebrity?
All right, that about wraps up the first episode of What to Do Bemidji. Until next week.
Wrapping up our show tonight is the Mack Sisters, covering movie reviews with the footage from the Headwaters Film Festival.
Hello guys, it's Alexa and Haley, and we are the Mack Sisters. So today's video, we thought we would kind of contribute our BSU school, and for one of our classes we did Headwaters Film Festival, and I have some clips and I'll show that in here with you guys. And so what that is, it's a class that we took, and you literally kind of organize and promote this film festival, and it's made by students our age, so people from like Colorado and Moorhead, and we watched Europe films, and this year's theme was Jurassic Park, and so we thought we'd just answer some fun movie questions. So Haley, what is your favorite kind of genre of movie?
I kind of like the comedy or romantic movies. What about you?
I really like action and Marvel.
Like kind of opposite genres for movies, but
We do.
yeah.
So if you could be with any celebrity in a movie, who would you be with? Like anyone, even if they're not movie stars.
A celebrity?
Yeah, I know.
Jessie James.
I do, you're right.
But like movie stars, I don't really know a lot of actresses by their names. I know them like when I see them, but like I can't rattle off their names. I'm not very good with movies and actors. So what actress would you be with from a movie?
Well, for an actress, I would want to be with Margot Robbie. I love her so much. And then for like the guys, definitely Tom Hardy or Jason Statham, because they are really good actors and really in the action movies.
What about a celebrity?
Those are celebrities. We watched the first Jurassic movie, and then we watched the latest one, Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World. If you were on an island and there was dinosaurs, who would you want to bring with?
Oh my gosh, probably my roommate, Jacqueline Casa. She can help me with pretty much anything I need, whip anything up.
That's actually a really good answer.
What about you?
I'd probably bring some like really survival guy. You know how there's like people like,
yeah, that's
so
true. Like that's what like came to my head, but like I thought maybe somebody you know. But do you know a survival guy? So how are you gonna bring them?
I don't know. Okay guys, so that is it for our little Q&A of this little movie segment, but we'll be back, and yeah, so thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Now that is all we have for segments for you guys tonight. But thank you for tuning in, and we will see you all next Friday. I'm your host, Alyssa Mess, and you've been watching Northern Student TV.